Hello, this is Horror Studio 1, and this is my 10,000 subscriber video. You can call me the creator or whatever name you wish to call me. A lot of people just call me Horror or Horror Studio 1 or even HS1. I know in the About section it says my name is the creator, but it seems like a pretty arrogant title, and I think only one person has referred me to as the creator, so whichever you prefer. And this is my 10,000 subscriber thank you and introduction video, and I want to start off by thanking everyone who has subscribed, commented, liked, disliked, shared, and viewed or even clicked on my channel or any of my videos. Thanks to all. So I really want to start off by saying that I'm going to try to do this in one take, so I'm going to try not to edit this, and yeah, let's just give it a go. Usually for my videos I do some editing, but I guess I'll just add some chill music to this and I'll be okay. So, and this is also the first time I've ever spoke directly to the internet, actually, to my subscribers, my viewers, my fans, or what I prefer to call my friends. Really, you guys are all my friends. It's my first time I've ever talked directly into the mic, and compared to talking about ghosts and demons, this is really the scariest video I'm gonna make. No filter, no characters, no story, just me talking to a microphone, but it's making me pretty nervous. So yeah, I really do feel like you guys are my friends, actually, who are just interested in the same stuff that I am, and like we're a community of people and who like the same thing, you know, paranormal and whatnot. So that's kind of why I started this channel, actually. I started it to narrate stories written by myself mostly, but any stories, like good stories, creepypastas, anything like that. I was inspired by a lot of people who I listen to, actually, that read creepypastas, and I really feel like maybe I can do that as well. And I started to write my own stories. I started to read stories on the net or whatnot, and I incorporated my passion for the supernatural and the paranormal into that as well, by doing countdown videos, true scary story videos. I mean, I do feel like the world is a strange and mysterious place. It's really big. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I just felt there wasn't really a network that, or a place that could just incorporate all those stories and put it into one outlet kind of thing. And I guess that's kind of why my channel has molded into something similar to that. It's everything you find interesting or unusual or crazy or just taboo or just how is that even possible? Ghosts, demons, whatever, ghost sex or ghost rape, like even stuff like that. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of comments on that. All that stuff into one place, Horror Studio 1, really one community, and that's kind of what my channel has become, and I've always wanted something like that, and I've always loved to narrate, always loved to tell stories, I love to write stories, and yeah, and thanks to you guys, I'm able to do that almost every day now. 10,000, it's not a big number to some people. I mean, look at PewDiePie, look at some of the really big ones, the really big, even horror channels have a lot more subscribers, but to me, it means a lot, and I really want to thank all of you. So besides that, the first half, I have something to say. I have some stuff I want to comment on, something I want to mention. I have to thank some people as well. Just some kind of stuff I want to get off my chest, since this is the first time I'm actually saying hi to people who support and watch me via video or via my voice, because most of the time I do comment, but that's the first time I'm going to be talking to you directly. And the second half is going to be my top 10 subscriber video, which is a lot of people, fans, subscribers, people who watch my stuff. They basically sent me countless stories of their own personal experience with the supernatural, and then the response was overwhelming. I have pages and pages of stories, very long, very different stories from various different people, but despite that, I could really only do 10, so a lot of them I couldn't include it in this video, but regardless, for those that did make it, I messaged them, and then they're obviously credited in the description below, and for those that didn't make this video, actually, I also replied to them, and I told them, you know, why maybe it wasn't for me, or it was too long, or it doesn't fit my style, or it doesn't fit my voice, or something like that, and I apologized, and I told them the reason why they didn't make it. basically. And yeah, I hopefully reply to every single person, because sometimes it's hard to reply to every single one, but I try my best. You guys know, I try my best to reply to every single comment possible. So and I have to apologize again that it was such a delay to make the top 10 subscriber thing, because I wanted this to be like a milestone video. I wanted it to be 10,000 subs, and it kind of like is like a thanking the fans kind of video by mentioning your stories kind of thing. But yeah, some stories have been here for like a month or something, and I really apologize for the delay, just that I was trying to make it a milestone vid, so that's kind of why this took a while. So regardless, if you guys do have any true stories, or even an original story, you can inbox me at horrorstudio1@gmail.com, or just privately message me. You can comment. A lot of people do that, but it's really hard. I have to say one thing I want to address is it's really hard for me to go through every single comment. I have 60 videos, and my most viewed one has over 300 something, 400 comments, and if you're putting your story, or you're just commenting there and you're replying to someone, or you're replying to someone who replied to someone, or who replied to me, and you expect me to reply to that, it's really hard. It's a lot of hard work. Just for my fans, if you guys want me to reply to you, I do try to. Please put them as separate comments. So just don't reply to another comment as that, because that's really hard for me to find them. I would have to go through every vid just to find your comment and reply to it. But if you do like a separate your own comment, then it's a lot easier for me to just comment straight up. And yeah, if you guys can do that, I will try to reply to everyone. I really do try to do that. And yeah, and if you have your own original fiction, you can always come to me as well. I know Lord Bite Me Man, a longtime subscriber and a friend, he submitted his 1096 days story, and I made a video of it actually. You guys can check it out, and it's really good. It's really good work. Of course, I'll review if I can make your story into a video, if I'm right for it, or if anything, but feel free to email me or something like that. And yeah, and I want to thank Lord Bite Me Man because he watches like every one of my videos, and he comments all the time, so he's a great guy. So thank you so much, And yeah, so in referring to the comments, there's some things I want to say as well. Many of you guys are really gracious. Like, you guys are awesome. You guys say you guys love my voice, or I should do audiobooks, or some guy said I should edit films or whatever, and I really feel that is such high praise, you know what I mean? And I feel really blessed that some people do feel like that about my performance. I'm really happy, and it really makes my day, to be honest. And yeah, I want to thank you for those who leave really nice comments, and you motivate me and you encourage me, and I really want to thank you for that. And you guys are the reason I'm doing this, so thank you again. But there's also some people that, of course, leave some criticism, especially with the style of my narration, especially with the pace of the way I talk. Yes, I do agree with that, though. I do agree that I tend to speed up. I guess it's like sometimes in the story when it's like the climax of the story, I try to make it as like a feeling of anticipation or suspense, and I do speed up on purpose. But most of the time, I do realize that I speed up because I'm nervous, or I guess in some narrations it's because simply I'm not really that experienced, maybe. So that's kind of the reason why I speed up my voice. I mean, even right now, sometimes I tend to just, overlap myself while I talk, and it is something I am working on, and I really want to thank those people that take their time to comment on that as well. It's constructive criticism, and I'm really open to that, to be honest, and I do reply to those guys as well, and I tell them thank you for taking the time out of your day. You could be doing 10 other things. You can be, shopping or cooking or out with your friends or with your family, whatever, blah, 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 or watching a movie, but you come and watch me and you comment and you take your time to comment. So I will take my time to reply to those guys as well. And I really want to thank all the comments, whether you're trying to help me out with my performance, or if you're saying that I'm really great. Even that, I really thank every single one of you. The only ones I do not tend to reply to are the ones that basically just, are swearing or blatantly, say fuck you or you're horrible because you are. Like there's nothing really constructive about that kind of stuff. And I've tried to sometimes thank those people, and then they just ended up swearing even more and f. So, I'm trying to not reply to a lot of those. Just I don't even know how to reply to those, to be honest. Like when you're saying like, oh, you're fucking garbage, blah blah blah. These stories are all fake. Well, I mean, how would I know if they were fake or not? Like I'm just reading them from some source. So yeah, I try to reply to everyone, but if they're really angry or they're really hostile or, they're just here to troll, I just kind of ignore them. And that's what I do. And also, I don't reply if there's a conversation going on most of the time either. I just wanted to say that as well. Like, a lot of people feel the need to kind of defend me, I guess, and I thank you for that. But it's just sometimes when there's someone saying that my voice is bad and then someone is saying it's good and there's like a fight going on, and I don't want to be involved in that because I don't want to feel like I'm swaying towards one side or I'm bullying someone that don't agree with my voice or my performance. I don't want to do that. But but because I feel that every single person has a right to express how they truly feel about anything, really. I mean, they could be watching someone like Mr. Nightmare and they really love their voice, and then they come into my channel and I'm not what they were expecting, and you can't blame someone just because of that and they want to share their thoughts on something. So I respect that. I respect freedom of speech. So, and 90% of the comments, or 95, I try to reply to as much as I can, to be honest. There's actually some funny ones that sound like they say I sound like I'm apologizing to my girlfriend, or like I sound like a phone sex operator, or one said I sound like I'm wanking, and it sounds like you're reading while fondling your asshole. Like this is the most recent one that I found was pretty funny. It's creative stuff. So yeah, I could start a sex channel reading sex stories. Who knows? But yeah. So I think I replied to most of those guys. I said but yeah. Anyways, thank you for even taking the time to reply or comment. Okay, after that, in regards to just one more thing, the collaborations. A lot of YouTubers have been messaging me for collaborations. I actually never really liked doing collaborations. I've never done one before, but I've never liked watching them. I don't know why, especially I guess if it's just the voice. I always feel like if I'm watching someone's channel, I'm basically tuning into their voice. And my idea on that is I didn't really like it when collaborations is I'm here for your voice and then there's another voice, and then, I've just never really believed in that. Like I binge on someone's content, I binge on their voice. And so yeah, and also no one's really actually come up with a solid plan to collaborate with me. Like I've had people, random YouTubers or whatnot, come up, message me and say, okay, let's do a collaboration. And I was like, yeah, sure, yeah, maybe sometime, but there's been no definitive action, and I've never really got back to those YouTubers, and I apologize for not getting back or just not initiating to do a story with you or something. I just never done one before, and yeah, but if someone has something good, you can always message me, and then if there's more of like a definitive plan, you send me a story to read. Hey, I may be able to read it for you. I mean, I'm always open to come to some stuff. So it's just some comments on that. And just one last thing before I end this. Actually, it's been pretty long. I really want to thank somebody. I want to thank Mr. Nightmare. Now, he's a huge horror YouTuber, but he's really helped me out a lot, and I'll tell you guys why. We've never worked together or nothing like that, or he's never really commented on my vids, but I remember when I was a really small YouTuber, I think I had about 100 subs, definitely not 1,000 subs yet. He had something on his channel saying that he would be open to helping like a smaller YouTube or a creepypasta channel, and that if you messaged him, he can feature you on his channel. And so, it was a long time ago, but I decided that maybe I would message him, and out of the blue, I messaged him and I said, hey, so I'm, Horror Studio 1, and I kind of described myself, and I said that if you think I am worth your time, please, could you feature me on your channel, because you said you would be able to help smaller channels. And he was very gracious. despite me being a really small, like extremely small, like the guy had 100K at that time already. I was a really small channel, and he actually put me and he called the list the cool channel, and he featured me on there, and I felt like that gave a lot of exposure to my channel and gave me a lot of traffic, to be honest. I guess a lot of his fans would, check my channel out as well, and I know he helps a lot of younger or smaller YouTubers, and yeah, I really want to thank this person for doing that for me. He didn't really know me either. Of course, right now I'm no longer on his featured list. You can't really find me there, but it's fine, because I feel like I'm no longer that small channel that that needed the help of a huge big brother of the YouTube community to give me traffic. I feel like that I've 10,000. It's not a lot, but I'm able to stand on my own, and I feel like that space, even though I'm not there anymore, it could be used for some other smaller talented YouTuber as well. And it's just, I really want to thank him for even doing that for me when I was beginning my channel. And yeah, I want to really thank you, Mr. Nightmare. And no matter where I go, how far I go on YouTube, even if it's double the subs I have now, I will always remember Mr. Nightmare, that if he didn't do that for me, maybe I wouldn't have made it so fast. So regardless, even if you feature me or not, just kidding, but regardless, your channel will always be my cool channel. And if some of his fans sees this message, like this awkward message, you can always tell him maybe to come check it out, and then he can hear my thank you. That'd be awesome. So anyways, yeah, I guess that'll be all for today. Thanks again for the 10,000 sub. If you guys want me to do more of these kind of like just me talking kind of vids or Q&A style videos, please comment below. And yeah, this is Horror Studio 1, the most comprehensive and consistent, thanks for listening to Horror Studio 1, the most comprehensive and consistent horror channel on the internet, according to me. Thanks guys. Ciao. Story 1 by Stephanie Albert. An ex-friend of mine had this painting in her living room of this red house, and over the 4 years she had the painting while I was still her friend, people started appearing in the windows of the house. There was a little boy and a girl who appeared in the garden, and all these figures would move. Right before I ended this very abusive friendship, flames appeared in the windows, and the little boy and girl were no longer in the garden, but in the windows of the house with flames behind them, and a dark, sinister, shadowy figure appeared hiding in the shadows of the garden. This painting really freaked me out, especially since I slept on the couch under it. I would sometimes wake up for work and see one of the children up close, like them move to the very edge of the painting and was staring at me. I'm tearing up and my nose is running just thinking about it. That picture has some serious bad juju. Her autistic son was terrified of the painting and complained about the bad boy that bothered him at night. And what is worse is the kid had a TV in his room, on top of this very tall dresser where he couldn't reach. And we would find child's handprints all over the screen that were bigger than his hands, and his stepbrother wasn't even there. Plus the handprints were smaller than his hands, so it couldn't have been him. It freaked us out. Plus, me and this chick's husband were walking up to the house with their son, and we saw a boy who looked exactly like the boy from the painting in their bedroom window. And the son flipped, screaming, "It's the bad boy!" And he refused to go into the house, fighting us as we tried to get him into the house. It freaked us both out. Story 2 by Chris K. Not the best at telling stories, so sorry for any confusion. One day I was going to tie my shoes. As doing so, I was sitting in a chair by our front door that faced down our hallway. I looked up to see if my dad was ready to leave. I seen someone at the end of our hallway. Thinking it's my dad, I tell him that I want to hurry up and go. But he doesn't reply. just walks into his and my mother's room. So I started walking down the hallway to see my dad come out of the washroom. Sorry, son, I was just washing my face. After that, for about 2 years, I'd be trying to sleep but couldn't. I'd always see someone's head poking just into my doorway. I thought it was my dad checking up on me. So after the head pops in a couple more times, I go to the living room to tell my dad he's kind of freaking me out, just to find that my dad had went to the store and my mom was asleep. My dreams aren't any better. This one dream is constant in my sleep. In the dream, I'd be going to use the washroom, which is diagonally across from my room, so I'm able to see the mirror from my bed. Everything would be fine, except my reflection creeped me out. Why? It wasn't me. I wasn't even out of the bed yet. And recently I've kept my closet door shut too, due to an old man dying there before my parents moved in. I'd see knee-height shadowy things running around my room. I'd hear children and people laughing, crying, getting angry. I feel cobwebs on my face or something bugging my legs and feet. When I'm the only one home. This isn't the scariest, but it's haunted me for my whole life. And it still does. Story 3 by Rainbow Sprinkles. Okay, my friend told me this. Well, when she was 6, she lived in an apartment, and she was just falling asleep around midnight because she couldn't sleep. And just as she started to drift off, she saw a black male, around 6.5 feet tall, with an afro walk in and look around, then leave, and not even 2 minutes later, a short man walks in and looks around with a puzzled face, as if looking for the man that just walked in and walked out. The whole time, my friend is literally paralyzed with fear, and when he leaves, 5 minutes after, she gets the courage to stand up and look if he is gone. She got up and looked, and her small bed was near her window, and as she turned to go to her bed, she glanced out the window and saw a floating girl, and she looked happy and then started to change her expression to annoyed and mad, and she disappeared. And just after that, it started from a sprinkle to a full-blown downpour. It never happened again. Story 4 by Isabeli Estefano. Okay, so true story. When I used to live in the old subdivision in central Indiana, my friends and I used to walk to the woods a little way from the subdivision and hang out there a lot. We would build forts out of the wood and old metal scraps we would find there. We would play capture the flag and stuff and collect fossils and bones and stuff. We would walk by the woods on the way back from another friend's house at night a lot. And sometimes just walk around by the edge of the woods in the cornfield when it wasn't full of corn and talk about junk. A few times, we would be walking and all of a sudden we would hear our own voices when we weren't talking. We would just stand there and listen, but what they were saying didn't make any sense. It would just be like random words and laughing. Like, when fossil something door, ha 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 ha. It sounded exactly like us. It was like something that didn't know English trying to imitate us. It was super creepy. And all the time we would be walking, and out of the corner of our eyes, we would see people-shaped shadows walking around in there. But some were really tall. We would watch them for a long time, but the second we tried to look at them straight on, they would disappear. I remember once it was me and 3 other people. We were all the way across the field, quite a ways from the woods, but we could still see the woods, and we saw a huge shadow thing floating along the edge of the woods and disappear. But it was as tall as the trees. We were all like, "Did you see that?" And everyone saw it. So yeah, creepy encounters of really random weirdness. Story 5 by Sock Monkey. Here's one. One day me and my brother were home alone. We got a phone call. We checked the screen and another house phone was calling us. My brother picked up the phone slowly and we both heard a bump in the back room. And then on the phone, I grabbed a hammer and my brother picked up a baseball bat. We ran into his room and looked at the stereotypical hiding spots. No one was there. Then the door shut behind us, and the lights shut off. Then a deep, startling, yet somewhat soothing and mature voice said right from above us, "Call again later, okay?" We bolted out of that room and waited outside in the blazing sun for our father to come home. That was the scariest moment of my life. Story 6 by Bryan Archer. I'll email you my story if it doesn't come through here. When I was around 7 years old, I had a hard time sleeping at night. Sounds always kept me up, and I kept having visions of things in my room lurking in the shadows. One night, while I was trying to fall asleep, I was hearing noises coming from the other room, my parents' room. I can still remember the time on the clock. It was 3:47 a.m. When I was just about to get out of bed and go check out to see what it was, a strong force flung me across the room out of my bed, and I hit my 2 drawers full of toys. The drawers and all of its contents fell on me, and I was in a lot of pain. Strangely, I thought nothing of it. I got up and slowly walked into my parents' room. What I saw would scare me to this day. It was a man, roughly 6 feet tall and in a dark cloak. His eyes were bloodshot and his teeth were sharper than razor blades. I ran towards my parents and I tried to wake them up, to warn them about this monster of a human who was about to attack them. Then I saw nothing. Not the kind of nothing like black darkness, but nothing. And that's when I woke up. You may be thinking that I woke in my bed and everything was normal, but that wasn't the case. I awoke on the opposite side of my room, underneath the drawers in a pile of toys that fell on me in my dream. Shocked by fear, I stumbled to my feet and pushed the toys away. Within a split second of doing that, I hear the noise coming from my parents' room. I looked at the clock to my disbelief, 3:47 a.m. There is my story. I hope it was good enough for you to have it in one of your future videos. By the way, there was nothing in my parents' room when I looked for real. I just wanted to end it with a cliffhanger. Thank you for reading and keep up the good videos. Story 7 by Matthew's channel. One day when I was in my bed around 3 o'clock in the morning, I was playing video games. I told my friends online that I'm going to bed, it's late, and then I turned off my game, and about 20 minutes sitting in the dark, I hear a voice coming from under my bed, saying, "Ready for a late night story?" in a creepy voice. In shock, I stayed in bed listening to the story. I could tell it was a lady under my bed, but she sounded so scary. So I listened to the story, and she was talking about how I was born and who my girlfriend was, and that she knew that my parents weren't home, and that she comes once in a while under my bed, and that she wanted to kill my family and have me to her own. After the story was finished, she came out from under the bed, and I acted like I was sleeping, and she went out to my window and fell out. I got scared because I lived on the 2nd floor. She was never found. Creepy or what? Story 8 by Max Dunham. Growing up in a religious and superstitious family, Ouija boards are outright forbidden under our roof, and when moving, we look really deep into the house's history to ensure that there is no chance of a haunting. I rarely ever encountered anything paranormal. Yet, there has been a couple of times when strange, unexplainable things have happened. One such example is a story I don't even remember happening, but it's a story that stuck with my mom. Allegedly, when I was a toddler, I was crying one night, and when my mom went to check on me, I had told her something along the lines of, "I don't want to see the clown again." When she asked for more information, I had apparently told her that some creepy-looking clown slowly peeked out from under my crib, smiled at me in a demented sort of way, and sunk back down under my crib. I think it might have just been a nightmare. but she seemed quite sure that I had actually seen something for some reason. Quite a turnaround from the usual childhood horror tropes in movies. Another thing I experienced was still in my childhood stage, but recent enough for me to actually remember. This one I'm positive had happened because I didn't even have the chance to sleep when it did. I think it was during the first few days when I had lived with my grandma after my mom had left my stepdad. I was in bed one night, top bunk, while my little brother might have been passed out in the bottom, trying to get some sleep despite not being all that tired one night, when I suddenly felt uneasy. Keeping my eyes closed, I had just pulled my covers over my head when I heard a man's voice laughing from right by my bed. Yes, the sinister sort of laughing, considering that the only males in the house at the time was myself, who most definitely wasn't laughing, and my little brother, who was too young to pull off such a deep voice. This sent me in a panic, and I gripped the covers tightly, having seen enough ghost movies to expect them to be ripped off of me. This never came, though. Not a tug, not a touch, nothing physical occurred. It was just a half a minute of sinister laughing before it began to fade away. Strangely enough, when it faded, I can recall it fading in an upward direction, as if the source was floating away. I told my mom the next day. My little brother claimed to have never heard anything that night, but this time she seemed to think it was the living room TV I'd heard. Back then, I accepted the answer. Looking back now, however, the living room TV is clearly across the house from where my old room was. I don't see how it could have possibly been loud enough to sound like it was originally right next to me. Fortunately, I haven't experienced it or anything like it since. That's not to say I haven't experienced some scary stuff since then, but those are more along the lines of extremely vivid nightmares that transitioned to an awake state so fluidly that I may as well have not been sleeping or receiving some nightly visitor I never saw in our backyard to steal our tomato plant. Stories for another time. Story 9 by Taqifsha Nanen. I grew up in a small town in Germany. Being refugees, my family could not afford good housing conditions. Long story short, we ended up staying in an old house that we rented. The owners bought the house after the former owners died by an intoxication in the garage. As a little child, I would often get sick. I've never been the healthy kind of a guy. Me and my best friend, Nick, who lived on the first floor in the same house, would chill all day in the woods that surrounded the park next to our house. One day, we played on the playground in the park. We were laughing about the jokes we made and stuff that happened in some series you used to watch, Pokemon. We were playing and laughing so much that we totally forgot the time. Suddenly, we noticed a figure in the woods. It looked like a woman dressed in black, who was staring at us. It has already gone dark, so we couldn't see much of that figure. Thinking it was somebody from the asylum seekers hostel, we didn't really care that much. Naive as we were, we simply ignored it and kept on playing. After a while, we noticed that the figure in the woods had not moved. Scared, we decided to run away after counting to 3. When we arrived at home, we chose not to talk about what happened to us because we were afraid that our parents would prohibit us from playing on the playground again. One night, a week after this, I had a nightmare of this figure talking to me. The dark figure asked me with a creepy voice, "You were playing so well in the park. Why don't you come to the attic and play with me? I know many games and I have a lot of toys that I want to show you." It asked me 3 times. First, it asked me politely. Then its voice got angry. I stared at the figure, but my vision was blurry. The voice sounded like a woman's voice. Suddenly, it walked towards me. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't. Before she could reach me, I woke up. I could understand why I had this nightmare, but why Nick had the exact same dream at the exact same night was not comprehensive. He unlike me, did not have the ability to wake up whenever he wanted. He said the figure tried to strangle him. He had marks of somebody's hands on his neck. His mother thought it was some bully at school, so Nick had to struggle explaining to his mother that it was an accident with a rope in sports. I had many nightmares in my childhood, but this was something special. We didn't know who to address with such events, so we sought help in books at the library. After making a research, we found a really good book about demons. I bought the book and researched useful pages with spells that could protect us or at least give us some useful information. A week later, the figure visited me again. But now it was more visible. It had a bird-like beak on its face. The figure did not resemble a woman anymore. The figure threatened us and said that if I did not come to play with her, she would attack my family. I responded, "I do not want to play with you. Leave Nick and my family alone." Since I felt secure and safe because of my ability, I started provoking the figure. I said that it cannot force me to play with it, and I am too smart to believe that it was true. The figure looked at me, paused for a moment, took a deep breath, and then screamed. I got really scared and my heart was pumping so loudly I could hear it like the sounds of drumsticks hitting broken vases. It took out a chain out of her coat. I really thought for a minute that this was my end. It ran over to me and grabbed my legs. It tried to drag me away, but then I escaped using my ability. I can feel my eyelids while asleep. That's why I can always open them to wake up. I heard that you cannot die while dreaming, but that was a close one, I guess. The next few weeks would what I would call the hardest time in my childhood. Nick and me, we searched books and learned spells that would protect us. Nick had visible scratching marks and lost weight. Nick would paint a hexagram on the carpet. Our parents did not really understand what was going on. We could not tell them. We were too afraid that it could haunt them too. One night, the creature came again. This time it had an even longer bird's beak on its face. It was taller. I quickly used my ability to wake up. When I awoke, the creature asked, "Do you think it was a dream?" I was paralyzed. I could not move nor breathe correctly. It moved towards me, slowly. I could only move my eyes. It wore a long black dress underneath, which thick legs were hidden. The room smelled like all kinds of herbs. It took big and heavy steps. I was really scared. I tried to move, but I couldn't. Suddenly, I remembered a spell. I tried hard, but then I got all my strength together and I screamed, "Spiritus, Deshunta, protego me!" My little brother was in the neighboring room. He woke up and tried to get into my room, but somehow it was closed. The creature took a chain out of its coat, said some words in Latin, and disappeared into the shadows. Then I fell asleep again. When I woke up, I was sitting in a chair in the middle of the room. I felt tired. I tried to explain it and label it as a dream or hallucination with sleep paralysis, since my brother could not remember having tried to open my door at that night. But Nick did. His sister had seen him moving in his bed like he was trying to kick a door open. Nick even had the fucking chain of the creature in his hands. He said that he decided to go upstairs and help me with the creature. After telling Nick's sister Janine what has happened, she decided to help us, finding protection and help. She decided to take the chain and go upstairs to the attic. She opened it with a key that we had taken. The room was full of paintings, toys, books, and photos as well. One person on the photo resembled the woman in the park. She turned out to be the former owner of the house. After we had visited the attic, the creature never returned. We moved out 6 years later. I was told that our city was a place where the bubonic plague had caused many deaths. The people who are currently living in the house say that they can sometimes hear voices coming out of the attic. It would usually start at 3 a.m. and would last an hour. After telling them this story, they decided to move out when they got enough money to find a new place. Nick is now in the occult. His sister still can't forget when Nick screamed and tried to break the door. I did not have many nightmares after that. The only thing that we kept from this experience is the chain and the memory of the creature that Nick captured in a drawing on paint in Microsoft. Story 10 by Markey. Hello. I really enjoy your videos, especially the true scary story ones. Watching them reminded me of some experience I had when I was younger. I like to share them with you, and if you can put them in a video. When I was little, probably around 5 or 6, my room had a fairly large window which looked out over the backyard. Outside near the window there was a huge tree, and the branches would always cast shadows on my bedroom wall at night. This never really scared me or anything. I would often watch the shadows while lying in bed and waiting to fall asleep. Anyways, one night around Christmas, my parents were hosting a small party at the house, and they put me to bed a little earlier than usual. It was particularly windy that night, and since I wasn't really tired, I was just sitting up in my bed watching the tree shadows on my wall with vague interest. Now this kind of weird, but as I watched the shadows, I saw them twist and change unnaturally to form the silhouette of a pig's head. For some reason, I wasn't scared at first, just very intrigued. Then the head seemed to open its mouth and emit this horrible scream, a squealing sound. Needless to say, I shat bricks and ran out of my room. I don't remember what I said to my parents, but I'm sure to them I sounded like some inarticulate child speak, which they obviously dismissed. But seeing as I was clearly frightened, they let me stay up a little later and came into my room with me and closed the curtains. Maybe it was just my overactive imagination as a child, but it's always been a very vivid and terrifying memory for me. My other story happened when I was around 11 years old, in a different house. To preface, I had just thoroughly cleaned my room a couple of days before, and my toys were all neatly put away in one of those large Tupperware bins with the top latch securely shut. Anyways, it was nighttime and I was about to go to bed. I was looking behind my bed for a pillow or something, which was about a 6-inch gap from my bed and the wall, and when I turned around, 3 stuffed animals were piled perfectly on top of each other in the dead center of the room. Stuffed animals which I knew for sure had been packed in the Tupperware bin. I checked the bin and the lid was still latched on. That might seem kind of mild or anticlimactic, but there were so many inexplainable things about this incident. It sends chills down my spine. How did the toys get out of the bin and become arranged so neatly and perfectly in the mere 30 seconds or so that I had my back turned, without ever me hearing or seeing anything? To this day, I am unable to come up with a logical explanation for this. That wasn't the only weird thing that's happened to me in that room either. I remember once coming home from shopping with my parents and opening my door to my room to find it completely trashed. Bed mattress was flipped onto the floor, paper and clothes thrown everywhere, no signs of a break-in, nothing stolen or seriously damaged. Even checked the windows and they were locked. Although I was in the 2nd floor anyways. I never told my parents because I thought they blamed me for trashing my room. Still not sure how or why that happened.